She said I'm only good enough for dog food, she grumbled. Wow, I never thought I'd feel so embarrassed. Even though we just got married, I've been trying to do things her way. But it seems like it's not enough. Maybe she's from another planet or something. That would explain a lot. I don't understand her language anymore, but I don't really want to talk to her anyway. My name's Allison. I'm 32 and work in an office. I think I got into games because of my older brother who loves them. I've loved games since I was little, especially ones where I pretend to be someone else in a made-up world. I've made a lot of friends online, including my husband Carmen. We both love the same game and have our favorite characters and spells. Whenever a new game comes out, we go buy it together. After hanging out like this for a while, we started to like each other and decided to get married. Carmen's parents are Stanley, who's often away on work trips, and Bianca, who takes care of things at home. Stanley's hardly ever home because of his job. Carmen's grandma, who has Alzheimer's, lives with them too. She's been having a hard time remembering things, especially since Grandpa started traveling. It was a big surprise for everyone. Bianca takes care of Grandma because Carmen used to live alone. So it's just Bianca and Grandma at Carmen's parents' house. I worried about having to take care of someone who wasn't even my parent someday. But Carmen's parents are still healthy, so that day seems far away. I felt pretty relaxed until I got that one phone call. One day, I had some free time, so I finished up my chores and started playing my favorite game. Then, I heard a strange sound in my room. What's that noise? Oh, it's my phone ringing. I don't usually get calls, so I forgot what my ringtone sounded like. When I saw it was Bianca calling, I felt a bit nervous. It was the first time she had ever called me, and I wondered if something was wrong. So I answered quickly, saying, "Hello. You took your time. It's common courtesy for a responsible adult to answer promptly when someone calls." Her sudden sarcasm made me want to hang up, but I stayed on the line. "Sorry, I'll try to be quicker next time. What can I help you with?" As if you have time off on your days off, right? Playing with those silly games? You should be doing your duties as Carmen's wife. After Bianca abruptly hung up, she told me to visit Carmen's parents' house on my next day off. I felt bewildered for a while. Why did I have to deal with sarcasm from a rare phone call? I thought about ignoring it, but she's Carmen's mother, so I figured I should just hear her out. That's how I decided to approach it. Later that night, I told Carmen about the call. "I'm really sorry. It might be a hassle, so you don't have to come with me." It was reassuring to hear him say that, even though it was frustrating. Sometimes I just need a place to unwind after work. "Hello. Oh, Allison, is something on your mind?" Susan from the pottery school greeted me warmly. I went there feeling lighthearted, but now I'm fully engaged in conversation. Susan is around the same age as my grandma, but still vibrant and ready to listen to my problems. She's like a mother figure to everyone. Pottery is fun, but I mostly come here to chat with Susan. "Listen to this, Susan," I began, venting to my friend. I got a rare call from Bianca, and it was just one sarcastic comment after another. "You must have plenty of free time," she said, "or do your duty as a wife." I never expected to hear such outdated remarks. Susan always listens to my complaints without judgment. Just ignore Bianca's nonsense. There are still plenty of old-fashioned people out there. People who talk like that often have double standards. My son's wife deals with the same thing. While I may not have lucked out with Bianca, I'm surrounded by kind people like Susan. It naturally encourages me to keep pushing forward. On my next day off, I followed Bianca's instructions and went over to my in-laws' house. When I parked and approached the door, Bianca was already waiting there. "Oh great," I muttered nervously, trying to keep calm. "Good morning. You're supposed to be here 30 minutes earlier. Don't keep your superiors waiting," she scolded. I had just arrived, and already I wanted to turn around and leave. I can understand being punctual for work, but why should I be scolded for her convenience? Besides, arriving 30 minutes early can be inconvenient for the other person, which I didn't want to do. "Well, it's only 10 minutes early," I tried to explain, but she cut me off. "Don't talk back. Am I running a military camp?" I sighed, feeling defeated. I will never trust this person again, no matter what. And I won't ever agree to take care of her when she's old, even if she offers me a lot of money. No way. "Fine then, you're late for our appointment. Anyway, I'm leaving now," Bianca said, ready to walk away. "But wait," I stopped her. "You call me here without any explanation, and I have no idea what's going on. Well, I'm going out until tonight, so you'll have to come here on your days off from now on, do the housework, and take care of the person in the back room, Bianca said before driving off. I've never met someone so difficult to communicate with. She seemed nice when I met her with Stanley and Carmen, but that wasn't the case at all. I thought about just going home without doing anything to avoid getting yelled at again. But more than that, I hadn't met my grandmother-in-law yet. Bianca had mentioned her, but since she didn't understand, she decided I didn't need to come to the family wedding. By the way, we only had a simple meal and didn't have a wedding ceremony. Carmen and I were supposed to visit her together later, but our days off never lined up, and embarrassingly, we never made it. As I opened the entrance door, a shocking sight greeted me. It was a mess. It wasn't quite a garbage dump, but it looked like it wouldn't take long to become one. The room was cluttered with stuff, and there was a pile of laundry, clean or dirty, scattered on the floor. The kitchen sink was overflowing with dishes. Dust was gathering in the corners, and it was visibly disgusting. The last time I was here, the place was clean and tidy. What on earth happened? This is awful. As I pondered, I heard noises coming from the back room. Ah, it must be my grandmother-in-law, I thought, deciding to go and greet her. Excuse me. Since the day Bianca called me, I've been going to my in-laws' house as instructed. I've come to realize that Bianca probably spends her days out and only comes home late at night. She doesn't seem to take care of the house or her grandmother-in-law at all. While she bosses me around, telling me to fulfill my wife's duties, it's clear she isn't doing much herself. Maybe she got carried away because I obeyed her commands. She once loudly said, I'm relieved that Carmen, who always plays with toys, finally brought home a wife. But after all, a wife is just a stranger. I guess you're like a free housekeeper. In this day and age, treating your son's wife like this is completely unacceptable. Of course, I told Carmen everything Bianca did, and he kept apologizing every time he heard about it. You don't have to go to that house anymore, he would say. He even offered to talk to Bianca himself, but I asked him to hold off because I had a plan. I kept visiting my in-laws' house because I was worried about my grandmother-in-law. When Carmen saw that she and I got along well, he was really pleased. After a few months of those routine visits, while I was cleaning my in-laws' house as usual, Bianca said, There's a memorial service at the end of this month and people will gather. Just make sure you don't say anything unnecessary, all right? I smiled and replied, Of course, Bianca. But it seemed like Bianca wasn't completely satisfied with my response. The memorial service was for Carmen's grandfather on his death anniversary. He had passed away before I married Carmen, but he was known to be a gentle and kind person. He and my grandmother-in-law got along very well and used to travel together. Carmen told me they always held hands when they were out. Grandfather-in-law had died of cancer, and my grandmother-in-law had taken care of him devotedly, with no help from my parents-in-law. It's just unbelievable. There's a lot of preparation to do, so make sure you come early, all right? And I think you know what to do, Bianca added. Bianca said that, and I cheerfully responded, Yes, I'll act 30 minutes early. But she scolded me, Your voice is too loud, be quiet. I thought about throwing the TV remote at her but managed to hold back. You can't talk like that now, but just wait, get ready, she warned. I looked forward to the day of the memorial service, eagerly anticipating it. I was told to come 30 minutes early, but I arrived an hour early. Apparently, that was too much for Bianca, who came out of the entrance angry, saying, You're too early. There's such a thing as too much. Honestly, when I saw her face, she looked like a monster to me. I quickly cleaned the room and set up the tables. When I heard a cheerful male voice say, Good morning, as he approached the entrance, I saw the staff from a famous local steakhouse standing there. I had been there once with Carmen, and the meat was tender and delicious. But it's not something I can afford to do often. Ignoring me, Bianca eagerly engaged with the handsome staff, saying, Good morning. Nice weather today, isn't it? I could hear someone saying, Ooh, for the first time, and then I went back to my preparations. Hey, hurry up and bring in the food that arrived early, I heard Bianca's annoying voice. Resignedly, I headed to the kitchen, thinking yes. But there, I noticed something odd. How, Bianca, there's one meal missing. Is this a mistake? Should I call? When I said that, Bianca smirked and said, It's not a mistake. I never prepared a portion for you. I was shocked. I never expected to be treated this way. Everyone's gathered today, and you, my son's wife, won't even have time to eat." "How rude," she said. It felt like she was praising me, but I felt angry. Even though I didn't argue back, she seemed pleased and said, "You're just like a maid. Come on, say bow." Then she brought out leftover dog food from when they used to have a dog at my in-laws' house. I couldn't help but laugh at her humiliating gesture. I couldn't understand this woman at all. I thought maybe she was from another planet or something. I didn't want to talk to someone I couldn't communicate with, so I pretended to speak an alien language and shouted at her. For a moment, Bianca looked scared by my sudden behavior. "Are you crazy? Are you making fun of me?" she asked. "Yes, maybe I am. I've been putting up with this for a while now. I don't like living with someone as mean as you," I replied. "I don't know what you're upset about, but would you be happy if we got a divorce? No way. I won't allow it. I'd have to hire another maid, and that would be a waste of money," she interrupted, trying to grab me. "Stop it? How embarrassing," I said, turning around to see Carmen and my father-in-law Stanley, along with Stanley's brother and his wife, who had come from far away. Bianca didn't notice them because we were arguing, but it was time for Carmen and the others to arrive. I'm not sure how long they had been watching, but Bianca suddenly became quiet, maybe because Stanley stepped in or because she was shocked. Then the priest came to the house. The memorial service ended simply, and it was time to eat. But my grandmother-in-law stayed in her room, saying she wasn't feeling well. "I haven't had steak in a while, but it's really good here," Stanley said as I busied myself bringing drinks and such. "Allison, come and eat too. You don't need to do all this," my aunt-in-law said kindly. "Thank you, but it looks like there's no steak left for me." I pretended to be sad. When Cindy asked why, I said, "I can't really say. Please ask Bianca." Cindy glared at Bianca, who seemed scared by her look, and started saying something strange. "Oh, I ordered the wrong number of steaks." I offered my portion to Allison, but she said she didn't want it. I'm so lucky to have such a nice woman in the family. Bianca was sweating a lot, and her eyes were darting around. Cindy looked at me worriedly. Yes, that's right, behind Cindy. I could see Bianca's face completely at ease. That face was so funny, I struggled not to laugh. Bianca is always so nice. She tells me when I'm not polite. Today, instead of steak, she prepared this for me. I said and brought out the dog food Bianca had given me from the kitchen. Bianca looked scared at my unexpected move. What's happening? What did you do to my wife? Carmen asked, but Bianca stayed silent. Stanley spoke up. Well, you know, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, right? Allison is part of the family now. Stanley started joking, and Carmen looked like he might grab him. Wanting to avoid any trouble, I decided to call my secret weapon Susan. Everyone was surprised by my loud call. Then from the back room, a cheerful voice answered, yes. Out came Susan, the grandmother-in-law. It turns out she's the Susan from pottery school. The day Bianca first invited me over, we were both shocked to see each other, never imagining that Susan would be the grandmother-in-law. We finished the chores at my in-laws' house together, laughing. The in-laws' house is a two-family house, and Susan's part was very neat. It was clear she wasn't sick, but Bianca never suspected. Since Bianca came home late at night, Susan and I went out to eat and for walks. I cherished the time I spent with Susan, which is why I was happy to visit my in-laws' home. Susan had asked me not to tell the family about our relationship. I was upset by Bianca's unfair words, but I knew it wouldn't last forever, so I endured it. Susan chose not to attend the memorial service because she didn't want to see the family's faces. She always prayed for my grandfather-in-law's happiness after his passing. Huh? Mom, don't you have Alzheimer's? Stanley asked, confused. That's just something this woman misunderstood, Bianca said, shrinking away under everyone's glares. What bothered me most was being excluded from the grandchildren's celebrations, Susan said, smiling at me. Bianca, not finding this funny, suddenly apologized. I'm sorry, Allison. You've always been distant to me. I was frustrated, and that's why I played that prank today. I truly regret it, but if you had been kinder from the start, maybe I wouldn't have. I never wanted to go along with this act. Bianca, all the kind words you've said to me before, I thought they meant something. That's why I recorded them, I said, pulling out a hidden voice recorder. As we played it back, Bianca's face turned pale, and the others grew serious. Susan and I had planned to reveal everything on this day, regardless of the steak incident. After listening, Cindy started laughing. You talk about social manners, but you've never worked a day in your life. It seemed Bianca had never worked and had lived a life of leisure after the children grew up. Bianca started going out more, leading to constant arguments with Stanley. Stanley himself was apparently a habitual cheater who came home late every night. He would show up at school events for appearances, but otherwise had a fake relationship, according to what Carmen had told me. Carmen couldn't stand it either and left home as soon as he finished high school. That's why pack your bags and leave right now. This is the home my late husband and I cherished. I'll never let you come back. And you too, Stanley, Susan said, glaring at him. You've got another woman out there, don't you? Do whatever you want, worthless son. I'm cutting ties with you. Stanley left hastily, maybe feeling too exposed. And Carmen, I know you're busy with work, but visit once in a while. I understand if you don't want to, with such foolish parents, Susan told Carmen, looking a little sad. Then we left the house. As Carmen and I walked away, Bianca, looking furious, chased after me. Wait, clear up this misunderstanding. If I get kicked out, I'll be in trouble. I thought if that were the case, she shouldn't have mistreated me in the first place, but her words came too late. I don't get it. Why don't you work? You seem to know how to be a decent member of society, I said sarcastically as I got into the car. She was yelling something outside, but I ignored her. Let her regret her choices however she likes. After getting kicked out of my in-laws' house, Bianca showed up at Stanley's place where he was working alone. But as Susan predicted, Stanley was already living with his mistress, and Bianca was quickly left out. It turned out Bianca had been cheating too, with a married man. She got sued by his wife for damages. Since both our former in-laws had cheated, the damages kind of balanced out, but Bianca still had to pay. Stanley might have to pay less if his mistress's wife also sues him, but they're strangers to me now, and I don't care. They were a match in a weird way, despite their fake relationship. Carmen has no attachment to them and never wants to see them again. I feel the same. We decided to live in the in-laws' house with Susan. We got rid of all the furniture Bianca had picked out and changed the inside a lot, so it feels like a new home. Susan is surprisingly lively for her age, but I'm happy to take care of her if she needs it. Plus, next year, our family will be growing. I'm excited to have a happy life with my loved ones from now on.